Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And we have news, which is, it should really be breaking news. Unfortunately, I hadn't finished doing the edit and the previous one went up. So it's still fresh and hot off the press, but not quite instantly breaking news, but nonetheless important. The Scottish Government, the SNP government, has folded. Despite the claims to the otherwise, it has banned puberty blockers in Scotland. This will of course annoy the Greens. They're all for it, especially Maggot Chapman. She likes little boys to become very girly to help fulfill the fantasies of people in her party. But they have basically read the room for once. They've taken the feelings of what's going on. They've looked to see the optics of all this. And I think perhaps it's policy wonks, not ministers. I think the ministers would have been very much more wary of it, but the policy wonks have said, no, for heaven's sake, you must do that. And so they have blocked the referrals for these particular medications to block the puberty of children and thus destroy their lives. So with a bit of luck, we're taking steps in the right direction. Of course, all of this is a result of the Cass report, which has destroyed the whole ideology of transgenderism. Marvellous. Let's take a look, see what's going on, and see why these cowards have finally capitulated. Here goes. Right, as you see, this comes from the Holyrood magazine. Puberty blockers paused for children in Scotland after the Cass review. Now, I've got to be completely honest and say I am very surprised that they've done this so quickly. I expected it would have eventually happened, but I think in my mind it was going to be after an awful lot of bad press, of people in Parliament in London, people in Holyrood, people on TV. There'd have been a lot of ministers going on and trying to say, well, blah, 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 and given the usual sort of platitudinous BS that we've come to expect from these people. However, they have remarkably quickly, I think, come to the conclusion that it is the right thing to do. And as I say, I don't believe this has come from ministers. I think this has come from the SPADs, the wonks, all the people behind the scenes saying, for heaven's sake, don't do it. You know, let's stop this now because it will look incredibly bad. They know going into an election, the last thing they want to do is alienate the vast majority of people who absolutely detest what's going on in modern day politics with regards to transgenderism and the massive industrial scale, basically sterilisation of an entire generation of children. So referrals for puberty blockers for children have been paused at Scotland's answer to the Tavistock Clinic. The Sandyford Sexual Health Clinic in Glasgow has announced that referrals for the prescription of the puberty suppressing hormones have been paused for any new patients assessed at its young people gender service. Great. If you're 18 and you want to do all this and go and live and call yourself Susan, pretty frock and a bit of lippy, that's fine. You're 18. You're an adult. First of all, don't care what you want to call yourself. Don't care how you want to dress. Don't care how much lipstick you put on. Don't care. Literally don't care. I don't want men going into women's changing rooms where there's going to be women, girls, vulnerable people. I don't want men going into crisis centres or DV units. I don't want men participating in sports against women because it's blatantly unfair and can harm, if it's a physical sport, absolutely harm women. But if you want to call yourself Susan, walk around, Socky Hall Street in a pair of slingbacks and an A-line dress, good on you. Go for it. You be you. Absolutely fine. Don't care. But I'm not joining in the lie. But that's if you're 18 or over. Don't do it to children. Doing it to children is abuse. The steps affect new patients and a full review of the treatment pathways for young patients is to take place. The NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde Clinic is the only one in Scotland to provide the specialist service and has a waiting list running into years, with around 1,000 young patients on the list for appointments at the start of the year. And by the time they get through to them, like everything else in the NHS, they'll probably be fully grown men working on building sites, deep airy voice, deep airy chin, deep voice, hairy chin, big Adam's apple. That's the one thing. Doesn't matter. You can have all these gender affirming medications and that. The Adam's apple still grows. Get the big gnarly hands, You just don't grow hairs and you've got tiny, tiny gonads. And later on, if you think, oh, I shouldn't have done this because I'm not actually, trans. I realise now I was just a bit confused. Far too late. Those tiny, tiny gonads. Never be a dad. Anyway, those referred for the prescription of puberty blockers, which prevent the development of secondary sex characteristics, are sent to paediatric endocrinology departments at the Great Glasgow and Clyde Trust and the NHS Lothian hospitals. The treatment is said to buy time for young people who are questioning their sex and gender. And that's simple. I'm questioning my sex and gender. And you look at them and go, no, you're a boy, you're male, move on, that's it. Doesn't matter what you do, never ever going to change. But the Cash Review, a landmark report into gender services for gender questioning young people in England, found evidence that the hormones harm bone density. And that's not all. It also showed that it was irreversible, led to sterility, and that 97.5% of people children put on this, weren't trans. And so therefore it became a massive abuse scandal, and it's going to cost the NHS billions in class actions. This is going through. And the one thing the press always used to push, because now the press have done the reverse ferret on it, and gone, oh, isn't this a terrible thing now? But they're changing their stance, because previously it was anyone who questioned it was bad. And they used to push this and said, oh, but these children, think of the children, think of the children. But now, of course, what they never did was think of the children that want to transition back. Look at the ones that have rejected it. They never heard those stories. But it's becoming more and more clear that you are now. Now, there have been some sane voices, even within the SNP, thankfully one or two, and they will be vindicated. And all those people who were abused and attacked for standing up, and I'm thinking, and I just see the picture of her there on the left. Let me just pull that across so you can see her. See, look there, Joanna Cherry. She is one. She called for this. She got vilely abused by people in her own party for wanting to protect children. Isn't that a strange situation? A political party that does not want to protect children. That's the SNP. Well, finally they have. But I don't think it's because they wanted to. I think it's because they were told they had to. Anyway, a statement on the website for Sandyford said, referrals from Sandyford Sexual Health Services to paediatric endocrinology for the prescription of puberty-suppressing hormones have been paused for any new patients assessed by our Young Persons Gender Service. Patients aged 16 to 17 years old who have not been treated by paediatric endocrinology but who are still seeking treatment for their gender incongruence will no longer be prescribed gender-affirming hormone treatment until they are 18 years of age. And as I say, I don't care. If you're 18, you are, by law and in reality, an adult. Go do you. Don't care. Enjoy yourself. But quite rightly, they're blocking it now for children. Let's stop destroying children to fulfill the wet dreams of the trans lobby, which is very small but very loud, and now can be seen for what it is, a bunch of child-abusing weirdos. And all those who stood up for them should be ashamed. I'm coming up. Now, I don't care why they've done it. I don't care what caused them to do it. I'm glad they've done it. We know straight up it'll annoy the Greens. They're very much against having children being normal. They're very much against children going unharmed. But finally, the SNP have done something. Finally, something right. For once. Even if it's for the wrong reasons. Thanks very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. Definitely like it though. This is one that needs to run because everybody needs to know what is going on. So thanks very much. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.